Buenas noches, good night, good evening, good day to everyone. How are we doing today? We are the Data Vtuber Uni-ko Erra, and this is going to be our first chatting stream. Today, instead of doing any games, we wanted to just sort of roll it back a little bit and just relax. So we're going to be just sort of rambling about various things for an hour or so until we get a little tired. Yana today was out just sort of taking a walk in the just taking a walk outside. We don't live in a particularly urban area, so we were out in the woods with not really any way of knowing what time it is. We left our phone, and yeah, we were out there just around nighttime. Yana was, I believe, trying to get a bit of inspiration for some horror that they're trying to write. As we've said before, that's something that we are looking to work on a bit. And this nice autumn, these brisk autumn evenings are pretty good for that. When everything is decaying, we'll say, and it's chilly and our fingers begin to go numb and it's dark and there's leaves and not really the sound of anything but sticks cracking underfoot, and shadows start to play tricks with your eyes. It's very, very helpful, we feel. There are a couple places in the place we live if we pause, we're trying to think of if information we give on our geographical the surroundings would dox us, but if somebody wanted to do that, there are probably easier ways than to Google Map it. Not that that's impossible. We've seen some crazy videos of people playing that Google Maps game and just honing in on a location based off a photo. It's honestly a little scary to think about. But there are a couple places in our town here that are really good for just being alone, and especially during the season if you're trying to get some inspiration for writing. There are a couple really good areas, a few pretty close by mountains that aren't too much of a hassle to drive to, and then because we're not in a, like we said, particularly urban area, there are more than one back roads that you can just sort of take and not run into anybody. Only a couple houses on the street, where the trees sort of overarch and form a full canopy. So even during the day, it gets pretty shaded there. During our younger years, those are really good places to work. When we had a position, we had a job a long time ago on highway department, and the main roads are just brutal because obviously if you've lived in a city or anywhere with a lot of concrete, tar, pavement, you know that the stone and the roads absorb the heat of the sun and just shoot it right back at you. So not nearly as bad as in a city, working along the city roads. Not nearly hot, but it gets humid. It gets super, super humid. And buggy. Humid, sticky, and buggy. 3 of our least favorite things. But dirt roads, back roads, not really that bad. Even when it's super hot and sticky, we we were always in the shade, like we said. So no fear of needing to hop in the shower right after work after those days. But yeah, those roads are just really great, especially if you're, like we said, if you're just trying to sort of get inside your own mind. Being just in places alone, I feel really allows your mind to wander, and not even strictly sticking to areas that are outdoors. I mean, we've not kept up. We don't keep up with a lot of trends or fads or goings-ons on the internet. It's not like something that we take particular amounts of time out of our day to do so. But it's like so we don't know. Oh, excuse us. We don't know too much about this particular topic, but even stuff like the back rooms, which we believe is just like an office space, or even something we do know a bit more about. Which one is it? SCP, the IKEA one. We're going to. Oh, there's a song. There's a song by the Stupendium about this 3008. Oh, literally one of the first ones that come up. Yeah, SCP 3008. We're just being in places alone. Like, those are purely works of horror. Because someone was probably just chilling in an IKEA and was like, this shit would probably be pretty creepy if we just put a little bit of a spin on it. Same with like the back rooms, same as a lot of horror that derives from isolationism. Probably part of the reason that Lovecraft was such a successful, so successful with their prose and with their stories. Just a lot of that comes from not even physical. Oh, we're gonna ignore that photo. A feeling of internal isolation, just deep existentialism, not only with the self, but just in our place in this universe, which was so basically being alone and really letting yourself feel that can definitely lead to some good things. And as we hopefully all know, Lovecraft, not a great person, mostly because they were afraid of everything, which led to not great beliefs of certain groups of people. But yeah, I mean, the man was literally afraid of air conditioning, or so we've read on the internet. But that doesn't seem super out of place with the kind of man that at least we know Lovecraft to be, or to have been. But yeah, so we were just out and about, and we had a couple ideas. We fully got an idea, not necessarily for, well, it was horror, but not necessarily for a story. We got an idea for a campaign setting, probably for D&D, that we would definitely be interested in expanding upon. Right now, it would definitely be, it's literally, this happened a couple hours ago, so it's literally just a thought in the back of our mind. So nothing too fleshed out yet, but we'll probably be talking about it a bit more, because we think at least that it's a fairly interesting idea, and we hope to have a few more of these just chatting streams. So we don't want to. Maybe we'll just do a brainstorming stream one day where we just sit down and write out and flesh out concepts and stories that we have. that'd be pretty fun. That'd be pretty fun. But yeah, so yeah, we'd say that our walk was a successful one, uh, barring being a couple minutes late and being very cold. Yeah, it's super. How should we say? It's unfortunate that we don't get out more during other seasons, like summer, spring especially. Spring is the most garbage season to ever exist. Like, there are bugs absolutely everywhere, of all kinds. It gets, well, it used to be really rainy in spring, but at least where we live, again, hoping this doesn't dox us, it's we've had some pretty rainy summers. Like, it's been crazy how often it rained during the summers, to the point where, well, no, we won't say that. But yeah, just to the point, it's been a crazy amount. And it wouldn't even be conducive to going out for summertime inspiration, just because of how unsummery this season has felt these past couple years. Keeps being lag in our processing unit. Apologies. And it's a shame because there's a few places that I think we could really get some work done, or at least get some work started, if we could just get to them in the right time, on the right days. But we're busy enough that during the summer, at least, we wouldn't be able to do that. And autumn's always been a pretty consistent season, you know? Not really not any significant variation, because it's always going to be that time where, you know, it's a transition between everything being in bloom and then everything not being in bloom. And it's always going to get colder. And it's a very, very simple and straightforward season, which is why we like it so much. The only thing we don't like being the cold, of course. Yeah, just not being able to, and we were saying that it's tough because winter's very good. Winter's very good for whimsical, sort of otherworldly, but almost beautifully alien stories we feel. Being, well, again, where we are, a sense of being sort of stuck, but not necessarily alone. Very, like when you're inside during a really bad snowstorm, but the feeling of having, like, we usually just crank up the thermostat, but sitting by the heater is like having a nice little fireplace, and you're shielded from the cold. And again, it's like we said, very alien almost, because almost similar to space. You'd be stuck inside, whether during winter here on Earth it'd be inside a building or a house or whatnot, or a car. Whereas space would be like obviously some sort of spacecraft or space station, satellite. But you're stuck inside this place, and you're just looking out into this environment where it's so inhospitable and yet so pretty, you know? And with space, there's definitely a lot more mystery. Oh, that'd be so cool to be able to write being directly inspired by, like, the overview effect. But yeah, so winter, definitely a time for more beauty and sort of like the unique beauty that can be found, we feel. And then spring, of course, going back to garbage spring, definitely always has had more connotations of life and just rebirth and I mean, it's spring. It's spring. It's basic. It's fucking spring. Nobody likes spring. And if someone says they like spring, then they're a fucking liar. Spring is the most disgusting season out of all of them. It gets muddy. There are bugs everywhere. Like we said, it's just not warm enough to wear pants. But it gets too warm to wear pants. It just can't make up its fucking mind. Like with autumn, there's usually a hard point where you're like, yep, it's just pants from here on. And it's spring, the motherfucker flip-flops back and forth. Are we wearing pants one day? Are we wearing shorts one day? Are we wearing shorts in the morning and then regretting it later? Or are we going to do the opposite and think that because it's really cold in the morning that it's going to be cold all day? But no, motherfucker. Nope. It's going to be fucking 90 degrees at the end of the day in fucking March. Fuck spring, honestly. And then, oh my God, it's the pollen. Thank the stars we don't have allergies. I would probably self-destruct Iana. Just full shut down our shared psyche if that motherfucker had allergies. Allergies, oh my gosh, we have been around people with allergies all of Iana's life, and oh, no thank you. That's all we can really say. No allergies. Thank the stars. Black again, sorry. Allergies. The pollen. Even if we don't have allergies, that shit gets fucking everywhere. It turns everything like this gross mustard yellow, and oh, we had furniture, outdoor furniture at one point, and it would just you sit down on it and it looked like a murder outline from like one of those 50s era murder noir mysteries. Because there'd just be an outline of the person that sat down on something because they picked up the fucking pollen when they get up. It's like you sit down, you take a rest, and everything's fine. You don't feel it. Like, unless you're like rubbing yourself on it, you don't feel it. And then you get up, and if stars forbid some cop rolls up on your place after that, and like they look at this shit and like, where's the body here? Should probably get the rest of the boys up here and investigate. Looks like there was a murder that someone just forgot to follow up on. Then you've got cops all up on your shit, and you're like, no, it's not a murder outline. It's literally pollen. It's a hassle to clean up, and it just looks disgusting, and it sucks. And the birds after a nice quiet autumn and a nice quiet winter, we are light sleepers. Should be the first thing that is said here. We are light sleepers. We will get woken up if a fly buzzes past Iana's head. I didn't choose this. This is just how Iana operates. Again, I'm just here backseating. So we are light sleepers. So autumn, quiet, nice. Winter, quiet, nice. We get plenty of rest usually. And then spring and summer come around. And these fucking birds just shout it up all fucking morning from 5 in the morning to probably 8, and we're like, go the fuck to sleep. We know the early bird gets the worm. You've told us before. Now get your fucking worm and stop telling the world about it. And they're not, sometimes it even happens during like the night, the proper night. There'll just be some fucking bird at 2 a.m. just throwing a house party or something. And they start shouting and they wake us the fuck up again. This is why spring and summer are the most garbage seasons. I mean, they just suck. And then again, we already covered summer. Summer gets hot and muggy and gross. The only good summers we've really had are the ones where we spent them in cities, right? We've moved back and forth a couple times. We've lived in more it's fucking lag today. I don't know what's up with it. We've lived in cities, and we were down in Arizona for a time, and those are really nice. Spring, summer, we didn't get the full effect of winter or autumn, mostly because it was pretty much the same year round there. I mean, obviously it could get a little colder, and we could wear pants then, during like what, November to February. But other than that, it was pretty consistent weather-wise, which was super nice, super dry weather. Didn't really have to worry about anything except the occasional spider getting into our apartment, or scorpion. We had to make sure we checked for shoes for scorpions a couple times. Didn't expect to find wild boars out there, but those are a problem a couple times that our landlord had to warn us, hey, idiots, don't fucking go near the wild boars. They will end your life, literally. And yeah, if you've ever seen like just a video of wild boars, those things are like rats, and how fast they repopulate and how destructive they can be. It's just crazy seeing like farmers just have to face down hordes of them in usually the South. Most of the videos you've seen come out of Texas or pretty similar areas, climates, basically where boars would be. But yeah, no joke. I don't actually know. I think it was a baby back then, but even still, we don't really want to mess with that. No snakes. That was nice. Didn't have to worry about any snakes. Not that we'd mind. Snakes are pretty cool. I think we said in our debut that we definitely said we like snakes. Not sure if we said we would keep a snake. For a time, there was a point in history, Yana wanted a pet snake. Mostly, honestly, to be edgy. It was one of those times, probably right around early or late grade school, early middle school. You know the time where everybody just kind of fucking loses their mind. That was a ride. That was a ride to be on, I'll tell you now. And Yana was in that phase where they wanted some kind of pet that would make people nervous or weird, or it was a spider, like a tarantula, a scorpion, or a snake that they insisted that they wanted. Oh, this lag, I swear. We And honestly, snake. Part of Yana's reasoning was that with a snake, they wanted like a constrictor or something stupid that they probably wouldn't ever be able to either get or handle in their lifetimes. But the point was to get a huge snake and wear it constantly, like a boa constrictor, and just wear it around their neck and like drape it on themselves and just be the weirdest fucking person around. And we'll be honest, even now, that does sound a little cool. That does sound pretty dope. Just having the confidence to just walk out with a full ass snake just wrapped around you. That is a little cool. Not in our edgy phase anymore. Long outgrown that. But well, maybe not entirely. We do like a bit of angst, but still, snakes are just cool, and having a snake that you could wear as an accessory, that's a power statement. That is a full power statement, and it's a statement we've never been able to make, and it's on the bucket list. It's on the bucket list. Probably never gonna happen, but who knows? Maybe one day. We'll see. Probably not, but we'll stay optimistic. Yeah. Did have to worry about other weather though. Or dry thunder or dry lightning is a thing. I believe it is. Well, we know it is because we full saw it. So we were walking in Arizona one day, and it was windy. And what were we doing? We were walking home from a mall because we were at the movies. That's right. I don't remember the movie exactly. Probably The Greatest Showman. It was around that time. Might have been The Greatest Showman. We definitely saw that a couple times. We were walking, and oh gosh, we got an Amber Alert, like in the middle of our walk back. We didn't have a car at this point because everything was in pretty close proximity of where we were living at the time. And we didn't have a bike either because we were like, oh, it's not too far. We'll just go take a walk and it'll be fine. And it was fine. But about halfway back through our walk, we get an Amber Alert on our phone. And living in Arizona, we got so many Amber Alerts. So many, just because we were in such a populated area, more than we get when we're out east. West definitely a bit more busy on the double A's. But anyways, we get this Amber Alert. We get the ding, ding that it makes. We look at our phone and it's like, sandstorm or dust storm, like, get inside quick. And we're like, oh shit. So we don't have anywhere to go. We're not going to just go into some place and be like, hey, there's a like a store or like anything. We're not going to go in somewhere and be like, hey, there's a dust storm out there. Can we stay in here? No. We are going to brave that dust storm. We are going to hike our ass through it. And we did. We got through it. We friggin' squint-eyed, peering through like the dust. It wasn't that bad. Definitely had to, like we said, squint our eyes to make sure that they weren't ripped to shreds by little tiny dust particles flying everywhere. And was honestly pretty cool, just being inside of the storm. It wasn't really anything hazardous. Uh, well, maybe we wouldn't know. We made extra sure to be careful. Closed our eyes as much as we could. Brought our shirt over Yana's mouth, and just to make sure we don't inhale copious amounts of shit that should not be inhaled. And we just walked like that, and it worked out, obviously. But what did we do? We were walking back, and everything had a sepia filter. Like the kind of filters that people clown on movies for having, when they go to Mexico or something, or just generally the South United States / what is it, Central America regions, that kind of grayish brown sepia-esque filter. It was like that happened, but in real life. Everything just kind of got a little staticky looking almost, and just brown. Everything took on this brown colorization because obviously there's dust flying everywhere. So that's going to obscure sight lines a little bit. But we're walking through, and we're not really paying attention to anything in particular, because we'd walked this route a few times before. So we're just kind of moseying along, making sure we're getting through and, not stepping into traffic. And there's this blue light that just flashes for a second. We're like, we look around and we're like, what the fuck was that? And it wasn't super bright. It wasn't light up the area sort of bright. It was just kind of overhead. There's you could see shadows directly on the ground kind of bright, but not it's someone clicked on and off a flashlight rather than a strobe light kind of bright, So it wasn't super, super big, but enough to be noticeable. And we look around, we're like, what the fuck was that? And we look up just in time to see off to it doesn't really matter, but it was to the left of us, I think, or left and behind a bit. Who knows? But point is, we look up and we see two more flashes just in this cloud of dust over us. And it's obviously we recognize lightning when we see it, because lightning is a pretty common thing, at least where we grew up, and we're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. We're in Arizona and it's not raining. Why the fuck is there lightning happening here? And then something just clicks in the back of our mind, just when there's just a phrase or something just pops into the back of your mind, you see something or hear or do or see or smell something, and it's your sleeper agent where it just activates you. And at the back of our mind, we're just was that dry fucking lightning? And then we go back and we never really followed up on that, because we it was dust lightning, because we knew, you rub things together enough, static electricity forms. So we know that that's something that can happen, and we're well, that's the only thing that makes sense. So yeah, we walked through, and obviously, like we said, we just saw it. It didn't really have an effect on our day. We were just oh, that's interesting. That's pretty cool. And then we moved on and went home. But yeah, that was probably the most interesting thing that happened weather-wise out there. A couple times it did flash flood, and our apartments were like in that path of flooding, and the culverts, and not culverts, but little drainage rivers that they have in Arizona would fully flood, and our parking lots would flood, and lower floors would flood. We were on the second floor of our complex, so luckily we didn't have it that bad, but lower floors flooded once or twice. But other than that, like not Florida, fucking Florida, Arizona, it was a pretty convenient place to live, You got to wear basically one wardrobe the whole season. And aside from going and exercising, which was a lot grosser, you got a lot more sticky and sweaty because obviously it's hot out in Arizona, and you work out anyways and you sweat, and then you sweat more because it's hot, and also the physical exertion, and yeah, it just doubles up on you. But this flag doubles up on you. And then, we were walking to the movies. That was so nice, being able to do that, and do that with a grocery store and not really have to worry about. Because at one point in our lives, we were living in a place where literally the middle of the fucking woods, right? Like cabin in the woods style motherfucker, fucking until dawn, top of a mountain. If it snows too much, then nobody's gonna find you until next week, kind of situation. Uh, and it was the kind of place where if you had to go, like, pick something up, like pick up an ingredient or something, you're like, well, the easier thing to do is ask a neighbor, because a neighbor, the closest neighbor would be like 3 to 5 minute drive, whereas the store is an hour drive away, right? So usually asking your neighbor was the go-to, because otherwise it'd be a whole field trip going to the store. You get your laundry list of stuff you have to do while you're down there, like you have to go to the doctor, you have to go drop a car off at a mechanic shop, you have to go to the library or something, because everything else you could possibly need is an hour away. And it's like, when you're down there, you might as well get a whole bunch of shit done rather than go down and only do one or two things every other day, right? You go down once or twice a week, or once or twice every 2 weeks, and you get shit done, right? Get it all done, get it out of the way, make sure you take care of everything. And if you forget something, you're fucked, you're shit out of luck. Leave it for next time, So that was super nice, not having to worry about that. Like, the grocery store was only a couple blocks away, like literally two blocks for a grocery store. So it's like, our asses hiked over to the grocery store just because we wanted some like pastries or something. Like, that is probably the most inconsequential thing we ever went to a grocery store for. We were feeling some cinnamon rolls or something, and we went over and just hiked our ass to the bakery section of our grocery store. And we're like, dope. and then we go back, and only for cinnamon rolls, you know. Instead of like, I don't have to leave with 4-5 bags full of stuff, because if I need ingredients, I can just it's a 15-minute walk tops, you know. So that was super convenient and nice, and you know, we're not that close to the grocery store anymore. Definitely not that far. So we're just about on the outskirts, and it's still a bit of a drive, you know. It's still, I think we still put that, you know, get everything done mentality into just going anywhere now. That's probably just because Yana and I are adults, and well, I'm Yana's been alive for like a minute in my time, but Yana is an adult, and we are, you know, fused with Yana, so we are also adults, and so we just still have that mentality of going and getting everything done in one trip. Usually, now that we don't have the pure luxury of just being able to, you know, take a hop and a skip down the road for some cinnamon rolls whenever we feel like it. We're in a really good place though, because again, back when we lived like in the middle of nowhere in our little cabin in the woods, you know, not really a lot of places to eat or opportunities to, you know, get takeout or whatnot. And we still don't, but there's a couple really good places to eat. There's this Cajun place that we don't go to as much as we'd like to, but probably about as much as we should. So maybe a couple times every couple months. But they're so good. It's the only place that we've really enjoyed, that we consistently crave. Because every other place around, it's good. All the food around us is good. You know, we've got a couple pizzerias. All of them have like super diehard fans. You know, there are people who will be like live or die by the pizza from this one shop. And then there are people who are like, no, you're fucking stupid and or crazy. This place is so much better. And it's, on the one hand, it's super cool to see, like, it's super cool that, and these are all like local places. So it's nice that they have like a solid customer base. But on the other hand, it's like, you know, just like, shut the fuck up. You know, it's all good pizza. Just stop fighting about it. You know, of all the things, I mean, on the other hand as well, like, there are definitely other things they could be fighting about. So, pizza, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, not that big of a deal. But again, it's all usually pizza or, you know, American food, like classic, like American burgers or whatnot, which is good. But, you know, when there's so much of it in a place, the options are like oversaturated, and you kind of get bored of it because, like, pizza from one place might taste different from another, but it's still pizza at the end of the day, right? And just being able to have places, because there's also this Mexican place that we really like. And just having that opportunity to be more varied, and have different options that you don't usually have. You know, granted, Mexican is still pretty common in this place. But like, there's the same amount of Mexican places as there are pizza joints or like burger shops or wing places. But there's one place that we really like. So we're biased. We're biased. We admit it. We're biased. Oh, yeah. Gosh. What were we saying? We're biased for Mexican food. That sounds about right. Yeah. Oh, thank gosh that none of the places we go to. We only ever get takeout anyways if we go to these places and get food from them. Mostly because we just can't stand crowds. Like, not even that we can't stand crowds, just that we want to eat in peace, you know? Don't want. Yana has a thing about not letting people see them eat, which is it's not even like a social anxiety thing or anything. It's just like they don't want people to see them eating, which we don't get, but we also don't have control of Yana, so we just have to sort of deal with it. And it's not even that big of a deal to deal with. It's just kind of odd, you know. It's nice. It's nice that we get to enjoy our food on our own time, and just you know we feel like two things that make cooking really nice is, or food just in general really nice, is being able to savor it and like tasting the flavors like when you're on your own. And we feel like being present in that moment when you're eating food just lets you sort of enjoy it a little more. Uh, and then cooking for other people, it's nice. It's nice when they say that it's good. We rarely believe that it's good, just because we usually try to make something for the first time a lot. So we don't we don't repeat a lot of recipes except for a few, because we want to try making stuff from different cultures and different tastes and different base ingredients and even different methodologies. So it's not like and it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, we don't believe you're saying like the food is good and you're just like trying to stroke our ego and we don't believe you kind of situation. It's more like, well, it's difficult to believe that the food we gave you is as good as you're saying it is. We're not that it's not good. It's just not as good as it could be because this is the first time we've made it. And we just don't have that repetition of creating this dish that we feel would really allow a dish to be good, Definitely edible. We make edible food all the time. We are experts at making edible food. We're just not sure what our status, our station is on making good edible food, But yeah, and we do imagine it. It must be nice when you're out, we've always found like fascination with being, with going out, not as a group, but going out and finding like community at the places you go to. Mainly when you're going to like bars or whatnot, or like there are certain restaurants that just seem to gather certain types of people, uh, particularly like sports fans. It's super interesting how people just go to these places, probably not as a group, but they all just like kind of go to relax and have a day off. And then all these people will be here and just like watching like a soccer game or like an American football game or baseball or whatever. And then it'll just become a thing, they'll just all decide to meet up, and they'll just meet up and become like a conglomeration, you know? Just like something within them sort of psychically tells them like, yep, this is what is going to happen now. We are now all officially friends. We are a club. That's the word we were looking for, not conglomeration. We are a club, and we will meet the same time every day on every week, and we will all enjoy this one thing together, which is it's almost paranormal in how well people like that can just line up their thought processes and their almost their psyches. You know, it's similar to what Yana and myself have, only not forced, not as a thing of cruel destiny. You know, they choose to be part of this club or this community, and then they make everything so loud, so loud, and then they make people like Yana not want to eat in public. But and honestly, the sports that they go over, we don't really get them. Like soccer, football, that seems cool. I mean, people clown on usually male soccer players, but yeah, women's soccer is super aggressive because Yana had siblings on a women's soccer team in their high school, and we went to a couple of their games, and holy shit, some of those girls tanked absolute fucking blows. Like, we saw several girls get just basically curb stomped, just thrown around and fucking shoulder checked like it was a fucking varsity senior high school football. And just, it was so insane. It was so insane. We could never do that. Like, a girl did almost a full backflip with the force of being hit by another girl. It was crazy. And, you know, because of that, you know, football is definitely one of the sports we still don't really get it. You know, we're not super big fans of it. We don't like keep track of all the new players and like the stats and games, but like if you were to ask like, oh, are we going to put on baseball or like soccer or American football, and like put on some women's soccer, because even on a professional level, like soccer players get clowned on a lot for being like wimpy or like faking injuries and whatnot. Even on like, I shouldn't say even, because that makes it sound like, oh, high school soccer is better. But the professional soccer players we've seen for women's leagues are still just nuts. And they're so cool. It's like, can we be that when we grow up? Can we just be not even like a player on a women's soccer team, just like specific players? Like, we want to be that person when we grow up. It's a little late for Yana, but you know, we'll get there. We'll do some cloning, and we'll figure it out. But oh my gosh, they're so cool, so cool. And speaking of sports, I think pretty soon is going to be not quite a sport, but battle bots. I think the 2022-2023 season is going to be starting pretty soon. We've been getting a lot of YouTube recommendations of BattleBots, of the teams getting ready for the new season. And these have all been in the past couple days. And we love BattleBots. So it's such a good show. That is, again, not the same as football or baseball, but it's one of the sports that we really like. Oh, we should just do a full BattleBots stream, because we could talk about that show for days. But the problem is we don't have TV, and we're not sure where we can see the new season, or if we can. I think it used to be streamed on Twitch, but we're not sure if that's still the case. But we need to find out. We need to really find out. And oh my gosh, we want to keep up properly on this current season. But it sounds, what we've seen so far is so cool. And we're really excited for what's going to come. And yeah, we should just do a whole, maybe multiple streams on it, because BattleBots is so cool. Even just the designs and like the power and the different weapons that each bot uses. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But yeah, so we're gonna check in on that. And actually, on that note, we're reaching about an hour here. Yeah, this has been fun. I think we actually managed to chat for pretty much the whole hour, so we're going to consider this a success. And we are feeling the mode right now. So we're going to head off. Thank you if you've listened this far. We are going to be gone tomorrow, Saturday. We are off as usual, but we will be back. We're going to be back on Sunday playing Iron Lung. Oh, not sure how we feel about that. Well, now we're very sure how we feel about that, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So we will we hope to see you this coming Sunday. As always, we can be found on Twitter and, well, not Twitch quite yet, but both of those exist. Twitter.com/uni_era. Same with Twitch, twitch.tv /uni_era. Feel free to give us a follow there. And we shall see everyone next time on Sunday with some Iron Lung. So I hope everyone has a good day, good morning, and good night wherever you are. And bye-bye.